Hello again, and welcome to Winning with the Wrangler at Dick Powell's Leadership Corner, brought to you by Earth, Wind, Fire, Water Training and Development, where our passion is building leaders of today and tomorrow. The information on today's program was gathered from many different places and many different people. So if you hear yourself in the conversation, know for a fact it's not all about you. For speaking appearances and support, contact us at ewfw.org or give us a call 727-422-1833. Today, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to usher us through the 10 steps of building a successful team. Now, I've been asked to do this because so many times I've worked with not only team leaders within the organizations, for-profit and nonprofit, but also at churches. And, you've all heard that together, we all achieve more. Okay. We've rewritten it here because I believe it means something more, especially for profits. You see, team really means this. It means a group of people with a common purpose and an expiration date. I don't believe all teams can go on forever and ever because I think you get wore out. But here's what we believe here at Earth, Wind, Fire, Water Training Development means. We believe the T stands together. E, enthusiasm. A, action. And M, money. Because I believe that's what we need to be doing. So it reads like this: together with enthusiasm and action, we make more money. Now, I hope that makes sense and rings true to you. If you're in a church situation, it could be together with enthusiasm and action, we bring more people. You see, whatever it is, it needs to be working in that situation. The first thing in a good or building a team, you need to know this: it needs to have leadership. So what's that mean when you hear that word leader? Does it mean just someone barking orders, or does it mean something else? You see, to be a great leader of a team, any team, you must be intentional of the team building process. The first thing to consider is, what does a great team leader need to be and look like? Wow. Well, first of all, they all are different. But team leaders need to have a vision that the rest of the team wants to buy and will buy into. You see, that vision is what's going to be the catalyst for bringing people around you. Team leaders are the ones who know that they do not know everything and build the team with like minds but different talents. Team leaders bring the next 9 pieces of this puzzle with them. Now, this is going to be interesting as we go through this 9 steps. I believe that when you start hearing them, you're going to say, I wonder if we're doing that. And that's going to be exciting. The first piece is enthusiasm. You see, teams are based on many things, and one of the most important is enthusiasm of the leader of the team. The leader of the team sets the tone, the attitude, the excitement that builds the enthusiasm for everyone else. Without enthusiasm, the team will become lethargic, disoriented. And enthusiasm is the beginning of the building of the team. It will include the next 8 steps to keep the enthusiasm continuous. I want to tell you something that for years when I would hire someone, I hired them for their enthusiasm because I believed we could teach them everything else that we needed to know. Think about that, team leaders. And believe me, you're all a team leader no matter what. Just think about it. Number 3. Common mission. Now, the mission of the team is the purpose of why you have all come together. That is both the individually as well as corporately. The mission needs to be defined, specific, and extraordinarily clear. The mission will be ingrained as the purpose in each member who has come along during the process and with the overall process of the team. This mission needs to be exact, but specific and able to be repeated easily so that everyone starts to buy into it. Without the buy-in, enthusiasm will wane, and there you go. Now we have a problem. So, enthusiasm, common mission, common vision. The common vision of the team is the picture drawn out to tell how of what the team is all about and it was willing to take on. I have found that when we use big picture graphics, this becomes more a part of each of the individual on the team. Now this picture needs to be a visual, and everyone on the team has a part of that picture. They need to know where they fit into it. It needs to be as complete as the team can make it. Take some time. Don't do this haphazardly or willy-nilly or think you can get it all done in one day. This will be a thorough collaborative thinking and actions at their best. Include everyone on the team. This common vision is going to be the reason why you're doing things. Vision the picture, mission is the purpose. Okay? Now the common strategy, the next step, the team strategy is the plan on how they will accomplish the mission and maintain the vision. You see, everything they do within the strategy is going to be filtered through the vision and the mission to make sure that they're on the right track. This will be the accountability and expectation piece of the team, this thing that's called strategy. The strategy is the moving parts and pieces. It's the process, the list of exactly what needs to be completed, and the timeline that holds the team accountable. If there is no plan, the plan is to fail. If there is no timeline on the plan, then it's just a dream. If there's no timeline, there is no accountability. If there's no accountability, nothing happens. You see, every time that we do these, we were working with a group just here recently, and they were going to go and try to build their 5-year plan. The person in charge rammed it down and rammed it home and tried to get it all done in one day. Tried to discover the vision and the mission and then tried to build a strategy. And where they went really fault process is they didn't take their time. The other thing was they didn't put time and dates on the strategy. When things were going to be done, who was going to be in charge? What was the budget? Who were they accountable to? You see, that part of the strategy is so important that if it's not done, the team will start to falter and fall apart because the direction starts to waver. Now, this next one is important. So leaders, I encourage you to kind of listen closely. We called it inspire because inspiration is similar to enthusiasm. The leader is there to inspire each team member to reach their highest potential. The relationship of the team members needs to be built on knowing the gifts, the talents, and dreams of what they bring and what they wish to do. To inspire you, the leader must do their homework continuously and consistently to find out what's going on, how's it going on, all without micromanaging. You see, once the jobs have been given, a leader might check in, but a good leader lets them do their work. Different thought process, huh? Number 7, great leaders on the team process know that 2E plus 1M is one of the most effective things that they can be doing. That's 2 ears plus 1 mouth. Effective listening. It's intentional. Effective listening is required to build a successful team. Encourage listening to understand before you speak. Different ideas and ways of accomplishing end goals is a good thing. Not everyone will think alike. The need here is for everyone to begin with the end in mind. That takes listening to one another with an open mind and the willingness to try something new or different. Listening requires us to have MARF, M-A-R-F, which stands for maintain absolute rigid flexibility. Listening is something that, well, every team member needs to sharpen on. You see, if we're just going to listen and just long enough to give an answer, we're really not listening. And listening with intentionality really has some parts that goes with it. One, I would encourage you to take some notes as the other person speaks. Try to get down the essence of what they're actually trying to get across and the message that they're sending. When they are completely done, that's the time to ask the question, to make sure that both you understand what they were trying to send and what they were trying to send was really what they meant. See, so many times when we get into teams, we get so excited because our passion comes out. We talk so quickly that sometimes the message we send is not received, and other times the message we are sending is really not the message we meant to send. So unless you're listening with intentionality, you can miss that part and misconstrue what was said. I'm going to encourage you to really put time and effort into this listening piece. The next one we call communication. Now, this sounds so easy, doesn't it? I mean, we have cell phones, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Pinterest, texting, email, and on and on and on. In days gone past, it was, I think, a little easier because we had less ways to communicate, and so therefore you had to be more explicit about what you were saying and more intentional about what you were hearing. So why is it so hard to make sure that everyone on the team is and feels connected? It's always funny when we're working with a group that this is one of the first things that comes up. I didn't feel connected. I didn't have a part of that. Well, first, you must build the relationship with each team member. And each other team member needs to build a relationship with the other team member. If those relationships aren't built, this communication can oftentimes falter very quickly. When team relationships are in good standing communication, things flow freely with no interruptions. And when poor communication happens, rumors start. You see, rumors start and they build, and they're hard to stop at that point. So what makes good communication? And people have asked me that over and over as we go in and help out their organizations. Well, what makes good communication, they say? Well, good communication is intentional, continuous, purposeful, valuable information disseminated in a totally open and honest two-way connection. Totally open and honest. Two-way communication means everyone on the team needs a voice that is heard and shared. If everyone is not having a voice, and there's only one person down there speaking, all of a sudden things start to break apart. And when bad communication is imparted, the rumors that start are terrible, because here's what happens. When people think they know what happened in that meeting, they think they know, they make up their own, what? Stories. And when they make up their own stories and they tell them often enough, well, they become rumors, but the other part of it is also they become a negative piece. Make sure that it's always coming from the front of the room, all of the information, all the time, open and honest. Make sure everyone has a piece and opportunity to speak. It's so very important that I believe that team leaders sometimes forget where they're at and who they're belonging to. So we're always encouraging that part that goes into this. The next step we called action. Action, like enthusiasm, is catching, and without it, there is just stagnation. The team must be able to execute the strategy of the team. That's why it's so important to take the time to build that strategy based on your mission and vision. You see, the question will always be, what are we, the team, doing today to achieve our goals? That's why it's very important to have that vision, mission, and strategy posted somewhere where everyone can see it all the time. So everyone's still on the same piece, on the same goal, on the same road, on the same trail, whatever you want to say, but everyone's going down the same path. You cannot just make a plan, then sit and wish it comes through. You must take action as a team member and as a whole team. You see, as a team member and as the whole team, that's the difference that makes things work. When one team member does all the work and the rest of the team is sitting there watching, it doesn't work for very long. And there's usually, in most organizations, many different teams that need to be working together for the common end opportunity. And if those teams have created their own silos and not talking to one another, there you go, there's that communication again. But the action that needs to be taken by good team leaders is to make sure that that doesn't happen and there's a communication between all. Now, addition and subtraction inside of the team. This is the hard part. I won't fib to you on this one. But keeping a team healthy is hard work for any leader. They must keep in constant contact and evaluate each member. Sometimes a member is found to be just a bad fit and will have to be encouraged to leave the team. You see, a good team leader will help that person find another team for that person where they will fit in and become successful. Team members need to be learning, serving, achieving results, and be able to change with grace. Adding a new team member will always become necessary when a new skill, gift, or talent is required within the team. New members need to be accepted and assimilated by the whole team. So choose wisely. Sometimes slow is fast. This thing of moving people from one to the other, or encouraging them to go to a different team where their talents and gifts will be more applicable, is always very important. I don't oftentimes believe in just firing somebody just because they don't fit in. What I found was, when I was running the large organizations, was there was always a place for that person where they would not only feel more comfortable, but be able to rise to the challenge to be a great team member. And I also found sometimes that those people would rise to the challenge to be a great team leader. Which talents and gifts and talents of each team member is so important that you learn what they are. You see how this works. Today, I know that I've probably shocked you just a little bit about learning about teams and bringing how teams work together. But what I'm trying to really do as your coach, mentor, speaker, leadership person, I'm trying to get you as the leader to really think that everything that you do, you're on a team. Whether you're the leader or you're part of the team, in your life, each piece has a part. At home, you might be the team leader, or you might not. If you're in the middle, what part of the middle of the team? What is your gifts and talents that you're adding and bringing? Is the team going and growing? You see, those are good questions. But being a great team leader, it totally takes intentionality. It really takes the ability to say, look, here are our goals that we're looking after and the vision that we're going to go. And these are the kind of team members I really need to add to my team. And if you look within inside, I will lay you money that there'll be some people who have gifts and talents that are different than yours, and they'll be different from the other people in the team. But remember, This is an important piece when you were building, if you get to build a team from scratch. Now, in nonprofits, a lot of times you're given a team, and therefore you're going to have to learn to work with that team and figure out how to build the enthusiasm that needs to happen. Many times in nonprofits, those teams are kind of assigned to you. And remember, they're not paid people to be there, so you just can't willy-nilly fire them. It's better to find some way to build the enthusiasm for them to really grab a hold of and now start to really show their gifts and talents on how to achieve the vision and the mission. By taking the time to really tell people about the common mission and be enthusiastic about it, how it's going to take an effect, not just them, but the whole organization, and how it's going to affect people outside the organization, how it might even affect their families and friends. That common mission is going to do more to adding to the entire group than you can imagine. Many times when we were working with large organizations where there were many teams operating within, we would have to bring the team leaders together. And then I would oftentimes try to bring all the teams together in one place, which sometimes was really hard to do because there would be so many people. When I would explain the common mission to all of them at one time, sitting all in one place, it amazed me how all of a sudden everyone was on board. They all realized they had a different part to play within that big mission and vision, but now they were all on the same thought process, even though they were all assigned different things to do within the large picture. So the enthusiasm and common mission is a big piece of how organizations really start to work cohesively and not build those silos we were talking about. The common vision, my goodness, this vision is the future picture. And the future picture that leaders build is they get to be exact about it. And it talks about money, it talks about place, it talks about time, it talks about everything that matters to the organization to go and grow, as well as outside the organization, how it's going to be. You see, there's more to this. And of course, the strategy, those are the day-to-day things that are going to happen within each team. Okay, the day-to-day things that are going to happen within the team so that the team is living the mission to achieve the vision. Now, inside the strategy needs to have on the calendar or some way to keep track of accountability of who's doing what, when, where, how. Who do they report to? What's the budget? And it needs to have dates of start and completion. Without those kind of things to keep track of start and stop, you're just willy-nilly going through. Not only then is how do you know when you've actually accomplished the task? You don't. And so you need to keep track of that. It needs to be who's in charge, who does that person report to? You know, what's the budget? Are they within the budget? That's what leaders do. They look at those things, you see, and they help craft that thought process. The team leader, well, you need to bring the inspiration with the enthusiasm. And you need to know when to jump in and get involved, but when to back off and leave alone. And there's a big difference there to make that happen. But a team leader needs to make sure that each individual within each team feels needed, wanted, and has an ability to bring to the top of their gifts, talents. And you know what? If you build some relationships with those people, you actually take the time to find out what their dreams are. Where do they want to go? How do they want to get there? What do they have a vision and mission about? It will take and change the entire way that you respond and you speak to them. And that way that happens is going to be so important for the inspiration as well as bringing the enthusiasm. So take some time to be intentional about this inspiration piece. Don't just think of it as something I have to do. Think of it as something that's going to be exciting not only just for them, but for you also. Team leaders need to practice listening intentionally, as well as instructing others how to do it and when to do it. You see, this thing of listening is one of the hardest things about teams, leaders as well as team individuals. Many times we get so excited about what we're doing that we kind of shut our ears off to what everybody else is doing. We kind of get tunnel visioned and we think the only thing that matters is what we're doing right then. And we're not seeing how the other teams are playing within to ensure the success of the organization. So listening is something that, quite frankly, people do what people see and people repeat what people hear. So if the team doesn't see the leader doing intentional listening, taking some notes, being able to ask some questions, letting the person completely speak before you jump in and try to fix. If they see you doing this, they will. But if they see you doing the opposite, they'll do that too. Make sure you understand that situation. In communicating, remember that communication is a two-way street. And communication needs to be open and honest and totally transparent. You can't hide anything because if you try to hide something, I guarantee someone will find out about it. And the next thing you know, you're going to have some rumors going on, and boy, they're hard to take and get stopped. I really dislike rumors so much that you just can't even understand how much. But I find it over and over in large organizations, whether for profit or nonprofit, this thing of communication where it gets stopped in different locations, and it gets stopped because the people think, well, that group over there doesn't need to know that. Well, that other group might need to know that, so their strategy on what they're doing might change because of what you're doing. You see, that's why open and honest. But remember, it's a two-way thing, and it needs to be open so that everyone has a voice. Rumors are terrible. Don't let it happen in your group. Taking action? You betcha. Without action, there's only stagnation. And without action, your chances of success start to dwindle very quickly. When people are just sitting around talking about it all day long, well, you know what? That doesn't accomplish anything. And so you need to make sure that the action is the attraction and go on and keep moving. Even if you make an error or there's a slight failure, learn from that and keep going. Don't ever just sit and watch. Okay? In leaders, I understand that this adding and subtracting people within and without of your group, without of your team, sometimes can be the most stressful thing that you'll have to do. But helping someone find the right place where they fit so they can use their gifts and talents to be a success themselves can be one of the most rewarding things you do as a team leader. I hope you've really seen yourself in some of these things today. I hope that you've really started to put together a plan on how to make and be a better team leader. I see our time is coming to a close, and I want to say on behalf of myself, Dick Powell, and the whole Leadership Corner team, I want to say thank you for being a part of today's program. Our hope is that you have received a nugget of wisdom and guidance that will help you build your leadership ability. Until next time, if you have any questions or comments on today's program, don't hesitate. Just give us a phone call, 727-422-1833. Send us an email, dick@ewfw.org. Go to the website, click on something, and it'll take and send us a message. Go to www.ewfw.org. And I know the next time that you're looking for that speaker to come and give a presentation on leadership and accountability, you're going to give us a call here at Earth, Wind, Fire, Water Training Development. And you're going to give us a call at 727-422-1833. 727-422-1833. Or you're going to send me an email, dick@ewfw.org, dick@ewfw.org. Well, it's been my pleasure to work with you again today. It's been my pleasure to share with you this wonderful opportunity on how to build teams. Until next time, DW the Wrangler saying, ride hard, ride fast.